land registration, Mr. Baka Mungano, of allegations of fraud and cancellation of land titles. President Museveni hosted former Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta for a courtesy call at State House in Entebbe. The visit followed Mr. Kenyatta's participation as keynote speaker at the second annual Guild Leaders Summit 2025 that was held at Makerere University. Now, Bush War veteran Major John Kazora passed away. He will be remembered for authoring a book, Betrayed by My Leader, that accounted for the 5-year Luwero Triangle, but also gave us a snippet of who some of these personalities are, including Dr. Besigye, Elia Kategaya, Mugisha Muntu, and definitely General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who is the president. Tributes came in. They eulogized him as a person who lived by the values of integrity, truthfulness, and accountability. May Major's soul rest in peace there. The people of Kashari, I'm very sure, will miss him. The judiciary has operationalized 5 additional High Court circuits in a bid to bring legal services closer to the people. The new additions include Entebbe, Kumi, Lugazi, Patong, and Wakiso, bringing the total of the High Court circuits across the country to 29. Now, President Museveni, while swearing in the new Deputy Chief Justice, called on a change in the way justice is served. He said urgent judicial reforms are needed and criticized the outdated inheritance procedures, describing them as disconnected from the realities of ordinary Ugandans. He said the requirement that families dealing with inheritance must go through the Administrator General is unfair, disconnected from family traditions, and instead advocated for revival of traditional mechanisms such as clan-led mediation in succession matters. Let me welcome the team. Boenje Deusdedit is a lawyer and an advocate of the High Court. Musat Kwatanese is a member of the Patriotic League of Uganda. I have Mr. Hudson Turinayesu, who wants to be the Member of Parliament for Wampara County. And I have my good friend Otatina Mugisha Celestine, who is a member of the Alliance for National Transformation. Good morning, Boenje Deusdedit, and welcome to the Big Seat.
Yes, the pleasure is mine. Of course, I want to start off from the fact that that the president of the opposition party was not allowed to speak at the funeral of the late Major John Bashija Kazora, and yet his compatriot, the president of the ANT, was allowed to speak. In our opinion,
but that's obvious.
In our opinion, no, it should not be obvious.
This was a comrade of General Muntu.
You see, it should not be obvious because the perception, especially from the central region, is that Baganda are not allowed to speak at the funerals of the Banyankore. Yes,
that is not true.
No. Me, I'm telling you the statements of the people. Because you see, in the hierarchy, in the hierarchy, there are many. If you go across social media,
that's ridiculous.
Yes,
that is ridiculous.
No. Yes. So you see the hierarchy of officers in the Republic of Uganda. The president of a political party is among the top 50 leaders by the hierarchy. So it defeats the purpose of multipartyism actually. Because a leader of a whole national party, you cannot just say do not speak. Because if a minister had been there, actually she or he ought to have spoken. And so for us who are advocates for human rights and actually political partyism, okay? And for us it was actually, it was a bad sign that Uganda is not ready for tolerance, because it is extremely unacceptable in this era and age. Then I don't know if my friends here have read the book by the late. The book it is entitled "Betrayed by My Leader." It's a super hit. I read it and it's like I had struck gold. It is more of a blockbuster, because it takes us to the history of the Republic of Uganda, right away from when he was born, I think around 1968, around there.
1958, actually.
Yes, in 1958. And it takes us to his childhood, his contemporaries at the time, his secondary education, the politics of the time, and of course university education, the entry into the bush, the actually the person of the president, how they fared there even afterwards. But I've noticed that there's a kind of like a general trend that no revolutionary is talking about the impact of HIV/AIDS on the soldiers in the bush, and I think they try to deliberately hide it. But we all know that the HIV scourge started in 1981 in the United States. And that was exactly around the same time that the NRA went into the war. So I beg that people who are writing about their memoirs, okay, especially in the struggle, they should also cover the aspect of the impact of HIV/AIDS on their lives.
At least the President Museveni has time and again come out to speak of how it affected his combatants and comrades while in the bush, even right after, because of the indiscipline that they had at the time. Hudson, good morning and welcome to the Big Set.
Good morning to you. I'm happy to be back here after quite some time. First of all, Nishasha and our friends, the Catholic community, for losing the Pope, who many say was quite a very good man. And I think we witnessed that with the way he really came up and supported, went against the usual norm of leaders siding with Israel. And he chose to side with the oppressed side, which is quite something remarkable for a leader of his position. So I really eulogize with the Catholic community.
In fact, Israel had posted something on its official handles and later on the Pope and later pulled it down. I think they just remembered that this his stance was against Israel, so
yes.
they pulled it down.
Yes, so I really do eulogize with our Catholic friends. And the gentleman here, our friend Council, really raised some pertinent issues on why Bobi Wine didn't speak at the funeral
of Major Kazora.
I mean, this is a burial. It has a program. It has a program that has to be followed. If the people that come up with the program feel that so and so should not speak, then
so be it.
So be it. Why are we making it a tribal case that Baganda are not allowed to speak here? I've attended very many burials where many of our Baganda friends actually do address us, even in Uganda, and someone translates. So I think it is wrong to keep on bringing this tribal card into politics. Simply, it's as if no. It is as if we keep on pushing this narrative that, and it, by the way, it is being pushed by the same people that purport to be opposition. That Noop and the other parties, Noop in particular, is a Buganda and a Baganda kind of party. No, I think that is quite a wrong narrative. If Bobi Wine was not allowed to speak at the burial, let's not trivialize it and make it look like a tribal thing that is because he's a leader coming from. No, maybe.
I thought the schedule for any burial is definitely an interest of the family.
Of the family.
They choose who should speak and who shouldn't.
Who shouldn't.
All right? You cannot allow all friends of of Major Kazora to have spoken. It's just
absolutely
not practical.
It is impossible.
It's impossible.
And we must also understand that any barrio is controlled by the church. It is the church. If the church chooses to say we are burying at exactly 2 p.m., then the rest will not get the chance. You understand? So maybe, probably, and in most cases in churches, they do bury at 3. And there is a timeline where the church will not be participating in a burial at a particular time. So
but even if it were me who was in charge of who speaks and who shouldn't, there's no way Bobby Wine would speak at
a burial of
Kazora.
There's nothing that
it was just it was just misplaced. He was as ordinary as myself on that funeral. Good morning, Musa Kwatanse, and welcome to the big set.
Good morning, my brother Banyaji. Good morning to comrades here in the studio, and good morning to our dear listeners. First of all, I want to congratulate my leader, my supreme leader, and the CDF of the Uganda People's Defense Forces upon his 51st birthday. Those who are on media, you saw what happened. Really, if you can see, all international bodies were giving congratulations, an indicator that the man is international.
Mr. Banyaji, on that one, I happen to share the same birthday date with
a good general.
Leader.
Yes.
So I hope he remembers me.
By you saying he's supreme leader, you're insinuating you're not part of the PLU?
No, I'm not part of PLU. I'm not.
Okay.
So
I'm NRM, I'm not PLU.
I say congratulations, my supreme leader, and happy birthday once again. And I also want to congratulate him again, because those who follow closely, you saw recently Codeco, that was it's a rebel military in the DRC. It has been fighting UPDF in the Eastern Congo, but it has come out to realize that the mission of UPDF in Eastern Congo is pro-Africa and is pro-people of Congo. So they came in Uganda and visited Entebbe at SFC headquarters, brought in their formal apology to the CDF of their bad acts, and requested the CDF and the Uganda People's Defense Forces to continue their good activities in the DRC. That is an indicator that the current CDF is a patriot and is doing his work extremely well. Okay. Then on the issue of Council Bwenje, recently we saw at the burial of my good friend here, Seiz Murari, aspiring mayor for Mbarara City. We saw at the burial of his daughter, the member of parliament from Mbarara City North, where the burial was. He was there and he was not given a platform to address the people. And nobody complained, and even nobody is complaining. 2, on the issue of Bobo Wine not being given a platform to address the public at Numunas at the Kazora's burial, we saw it. That Bob Wine, when he came, he was welcomed by the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, who is an NRM person. So why not commenting on that gesture the Speaker of Parliament gave to the Bob Wine? Why are you commenting on him being denied?
That you members of PLU rebuked and called out the Speaker for having been so kind to welcome the opposition.
Definitely. The action, we didn't appreciate it, because the reason is one. Let me give it in 1 minute. The reason is one. You have seen Bob Wine, you followed him. His statements are sectarian. They are dividing Ugandans. Okay. So really associating with him is associating with our enemy.
Good morning, Mujisha Celestine, and welcome to the big set.
Thank you very much, my good friend, Mr. Banyaji. Good morning to you. Good morning to my fellow panelists and to the listeners as well. I am always excited to be here in the big seat, and for every time I appear, I feel energized. Mr. Banyaji, just to add my voice to the rest and the rest of the colleagues, it is indeed a sad moment to the Catholic community. And for the information of the listeners and whoever finds it important, Mbarara Archdiocese has organized a funeral mass, and it is right now going on, led by His Grace, the Archbishop of Mbarara, Lambert Beinomujisha, for those that may not be aware. But also, I want to say something about the late Major John Kazora's funeral. While my friend Council was only able to pick out that moment of being his president being denied an opportunity to speak, but I also want to mention that it is important for Ugandans to appreciate that that we give credit where it is due. You should have noticed, beyond what you saw, that the death brought together all comrades, irrespective of the divide, whether movement or non-movement. It brought them together, and there is unity. But also important to note is, let us know that we have a contribution to make in our country and the nation. Let us give, I keep saying it again, let us give credit where it is due. For the comrades that have made a contribution to this country to be denied an opportunity of recognition, whether you are in the same, you think alike or not, is a very big mistake for the future generation. So for me, what I saw was that comradeship, but also the contribution being recognized, and that is very, very important. I condole with the family of the bereaved family, but I also want to mention that I condole with the family of the late Silver Muganga, who we buried, a very serious businessman in Barara, who we buried on Easter Monday, and that is it. But but Mr. Banyaji, just before I get off, I want my council to put it to us that was this the first time, and has he been denied to speak in all the rest of the barrios that he has attended in Western Uganda?
Let's stop for a break.
That should be very clear, so that we do not bring these trivial issues to divide us here and there. Thank you.
All right, we stop him for a break. When we come back, the legacy of General Yoweri Museveni, on whether he will still deserve to be the leader holding the flag for the NRM come 2026 on your radio. Good morning.
It's tough. It's bold. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
We are back. It's 29 minutes past 9 o'clock on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music, good friends. My name is Wesi Gibanyaji. With me in studio is Mujisha Celestine, who is a member of the Alliance from National Transformation, to Nayeso Hudson, who is a member of the National Resistance Movement. But it's important that the people of Rwampara know that he wants to represent them in Parliament as a member of Parliament for Rwampara County. Council Bwendye Didit is a lawyer, and Musat Kwatanese is a member of the Patriotic League of Uganda. Our topic of discussion this morning is on whether the NRM settling to have President Museveni be their flag bearer, uncontested, because we know certainly that the primaries are almost around the corner. They have a slogan, settle for Museveni, he's the best, and they've literally amalgamated all the other organizations, Mzee Tobacco Main with the PLU and all other associations into one. It's now the NRM solidly behind President Museveni to be the flag bearer and take us for another 5 years as president if he's at all is elected. We want to assess the legacy and the accomplishments and the failures of the president as far back as when he served on the military commission as the state minister for defense, the person that he was being contested in Nyabushozi and not succeeding, leading his comrades who were about 41, with only 7 of them having guns, to a protracted war that lasted for about 5 years. He eventually became president in 1986 on the 26th of January, after which we had an election, the first of its own, in 1996 after the promulgation of the Constitution of 1995. We still had another election in 2001 where the president won with about 76%. We had another election in 2001 where he, for the very first time, had very strong competition with the coming of Dr. Kizza Besigye, who had broken ranks with the NRM after writing that dossier on why the NRM had veered off really on the principles and values of the NRA. And the one that I followed very closely, and I must say I was well and grown enough to have followed the election in 1996 and the 2001 and the 2006 where I was in Jinja, and where Dr. Besigye had spent about 4 years in exile in South Africa, made a comeback. It was, I think, unprecedented. After the amendment of the Constitution in 2005 that brought back the multi-party dispensation, we had the reform agenda that was from PAFO and the FDC and officially the NRM, and putting the movement system and nipping it in the bud there. And we had the 2006, 2021 of late, and the 2011 where we had Dr. Besigye, also context with Mama Mbabazi and the rest. And the General Museveni is saying, I am still fit, and the people of the NRM say they don't see any other person to lead them. If you have a working striker who is scoring goals, I mean, why would you replace them? I think it's Croatia that has Manzuk that bad. He was an old striker, but still led. I think Ledowiski will also be striking for Poland until he's so unfit to do so. I don't know why. Same with Ronaldo. We have a man in Cameroon, Vincent Abubakar, who is still the striker for Cameroon. So if NRM still thinks he's fit, let's talk about it. Bwendye, yes.
I don't have to fear saying that Museveni has always been a coward. If you read the book by Major retired John Bashija Kazora, the betrayed by my leader. His narrative is that Museveni has always been afraid of the opposition. Even in the bush, to the young parliamentary activists, the YPA, he's always afraid of competing. So I think he has some paranoia. He's not good at accepting a person of the opposition, even if both of them are in the NRM. It is not a surprise, of course, that whenever the electoral cycle starts, he's interested in being the only candidate. He has all the means and the rights to tell the NRM members, no, let there be competition for the position of chairperson of the NRM. But he does not have that will. He's a person who believes he should be the one to supervise, to direct, to control, to plan, and so forth. So me, it shows that even in the NRM, number one, there is no readiness for succession. They do not have any other person. They are just like Manchester United. They just have Ferguson and Ferguson and Ferguson. And after Ferguson has gone, Manchester United is nowhere. So to me, as an advocate of multipartyism, I think that is a bad sign for the NRM, because it shows us that in the absence of Museveni, there is going to be chaos in the NRM. So I invite the members of the NRM.
Maybe this, Council Wenge,
Yes.
we should address ourselves to the merits of the matter. This man,
There are no merits, because you see, the merits come when you give people the chance to compete. But when you stifle them, there's no merit there.
but in 2016, when the Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi
Yes.
tried to contest within the party,
He tried.
Yes,
Yes.
he intended to
Yes.
contest within the party.
And
When he
what
found
happened?
that the nomination fees were 20 million,
Yes.
he simply turned away. We remember that footage very well. Had he paid the 20 million,
Okay.
perhaps he would have vied for chairmanship of that party and later on flag bearer of the party.
Okay, so
Did President Museveni stop Amama Mbabazi from paying 20 million shillings as nomination fees?
So is it your submission that Amam Mbabazi could not afford the 20M?
That is his problem.
No, I'm saying that he could not afford.
The Secretariat that day was
Yeah.
ready to receive the Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi
Yeah.
as a candidate for chairmanship of the party.
You see,
And he only turned away because he discovered
the
the
fact-
nomination
yes.
was 20 million
No,
shillings, which has never since
you
changed.
See, the fact that there was only one potential competitor in the entire NRM, it speaks to the fact that people are afraid of competing against Museveni. And that is not good at all for any party, because Museveni is going to die anyway.
Let's talk about the NOOP where you were a member until you were expelled by
I was
default.
not expelled.
By default, because you
by
stood.
the Constitution.
Yes, because when you stand as an independent, you cease to be a member. So, where you were a party member has not had any elections.
Yes.
To even the party leader, later on even members of parliament, we know very well that within that party, there's a group of people that sits and makes anointings.
I think
we anoint so
I think
and
you are
so
comparing
as
two
chair,
different
as a-
things. There has never been a motion for Bobby Wine or any other person to be a sole candidate in the NUP.
What stops any
It has
vying
never
against?
been there.
What stops
So
the members of
when
the
people do not
NUP?
pick the nomination forms, that does not speak to the fact that there is a decision for a sole candidate. But in the NRM, it is open. No. There's no
let me
guidance.
have
It is
Hudson.
open.
Let's have Hudson.
No.
But Mr. Banyaji,
Let me conclude here.
Yeah,
So
conclude.
what is happening in the NRM has never happened in the NUP. We had a person appointed as the sole flag bearer. No.
Okay.
But here, people convene and say, in the entire country, we do not see any viable person to be the chairperson of the NRM. That is wrong.
Information.
Yes.
Just information.
Yes.
All right. My brother is very right, because if you remember Mr. Banyaji and the panelists and listeners, of course, you remember the major who wanted to contest against Museveni. Where is he? Major Maguru.
Yes.
What happened to him? The young man tried. So now the point he's putting across is they have stifled any opportunity for any member within that party or that organization
but the party,
to even attempt, you can imagine.
That is very dangerous. The party subscribed to Mr. Utatina has had that leader since inception. We have never heard of any national delegates conference to elect the lead of the Alliance for National Transformation.
I want to tell you that in any party or like in any other business, there will always be ways in which you intend to run a party. For instance, when they say that the president is the sole candidate, it is a suggestion. It is a suggestion. They don't stop anyone from contesting against him, but they do make a suggestion that, can you please be our sole candidate? And there are always reasons as to why they make that sort of suggestion.
Why don't you allow
allow
Hudson?
Mr. Banyaji, you see, Mr. Banyaji,
okay.
The people who want to
allow me some information.
Yes.
Allow me some. Thank you very much, my brother Hudson. For purposes of information, I want to inform you that if you are not aware, maybe be aware that the guidelines, the NRM guidelines or structure something is out.
Yes, I know.
You know.
Yeah, I'm very well aware.
You and put it to your notice that while every position from LC1 is there to the top position, there is no position of chairman.
So
chairman.
You're saying,
meaning that
Mr. Banyaji, they are saying
whoever
we're
is
not going
interested,
to have a delegates conference,
but the position of
and you know what is going to happen at the
is not
delegates
there.
conference?
That's the information.
Does he know what
Thank
is
you for the
going to
information.
happen? Does he know what is going to happen at the delegates conference? It is at the delegates conference that all these issues will come up. Choosing who our chairman, choosing to endorse him as a sole candidate.
Mr. Banyaji,
Can you gentlemen allow
You cannot
Hudson
say
to
that we have concluded
submit?
that he's the sole candidate before the delegates conference. But I also want to tell people that whereas they keep on focusing a lot on how the president has come back as the sole candidate, they intentionally refuse to see the other transitions that are happening within our party.
Where?
Yes, you need to look at the party itself. Look at the leadership of the party away from the president. Are they people relatable to the current generation? Yes, they are. You need to look at, take it to the national level. Take your eyes away from the president. Look at all the ministers we have. It is at a time like now that we have ministers who are very young, like Nyamutoro. It is now that we have
Point of order.
Can you allow Hudson to
point of order?
Wang and the many other ministers.
Point
that
of
I can
order.
point out.
Yes.
It's a point of order. Is it in order for the precurrent speaker to sidestep the question of the day? The question of the day is Museveni. It's not Nyamutoro. It's Museveni.
No, I'm trying to build up my,
Okay.
my
So
argument.
let us-
and these people
let us
want
stick
me
to
to focus on the
Museveni.
president.
Yes.
I am telling these people.
But our focus is the president.
Mr.
Mr.
Banyaji,
Banyaji.
I think you need to first allow me give clear information
to offer me
to the
protection.
motion,
Okay,
then we can
let's
proceed.
allow Musa.
Now, first of all, I want to guide that NRM as a party is led by the NRM Constitution. And the NRM Constitution, when you read the NRM Constitution, chapter 13, 4, A and B, gives the Central Executive Committee of the NRM to guide the rest of the structures of NRM. And I want to put it clear that in 2019, on record, the NRM Central Executive Committee sat and endorsed His Excellency the President as a solo candidate for 2021 going forward. So it is upon now for the new SEC that is going to be elected to sit and make new resolutions. But as of now, we are running on the resolutions made by the sitting of the Central Executive Committee.
Let me ask you.
Yes.
you know very well that the Constitution gives Parliament mandate to make decisions, legislation on behalf of the Ugandan people.
Yes.
If Parliament sat and made a decision that is not in the interest of the Ugandan people, but they stand within that same article that gives them the power to do so, will they be correct?
Now I can guide you in this.
Because SEC
Mr.
is
Banyaki.
given
Now-
power under the NRM
Now,
Constitution
I can guide
to
you-
make decision. Does it mean that the other members of the party cannot contest the decision of SEC?
Now, this is the guidance now. Since the party structure elections have started, we are going up. When we reach at the district, the next step is the national delegates conference. Now, in the national delegates conference, that's where members will raise and ask, please, we are seeing SEC resolution of 2019 gave President Museveni solo candidacy. Why is it that it is of this nature? Can we add? No, please.
At the delegates.
At the
anyone.
delegates.
If I'm at
Then
the
now,
delegates, I might
it
be
is
the
the
one that-
delegates now to request the Central Executive Committee to make new resolutions. But as of now, we should not blame the sole candidates of the president because it is a resolution on record. It has a minute of the
Okay.
Central Executive Committee.
Since you are holding the microphone, I will put it to you that there is a gentleman called Captain Maguru who fled to Sweden. There was another gentleman called Mike Mukula who expressed interest to stand as the chairperson of the NRM party about 10 years ago.
Yes.
We had a gentleman called Amama Mbabazi, John Patrick, who intended to stand as the chairperson of that party. All these were mechanically denied opportunity. Either outrightly locking them out of the process or technically locking them out. We saw, and the footage is on record, where the Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi went to the secretariat and he was interested in picking nominations, but only to discover that in a short period of time, the NRM had actually inflated the nomination fees from what was to about 20 million shillings. And all this was geared to deny him an opportunity to vie within the party. Isn't that really very, very visible for anyone to know that this is only intended to serve the benefit of President Museveni, who is chairman of the party, against democracy?
Now, like I've said, NRM is led by the Central Executive Committee. And it is the very Central Executive Committee. Now, what happens is that when we are approaching elections, the party structure elections, the Electoral Commission body sits and makes guidelines, including the new payments. Then after, the Electoral Commission presents its new modalities to the Central Executive Committee. Then when the Central Executive Committee approves, now the new guidelines are published. That's why you can see the payments we who are going to contest in the party structures now are paying were not there in 2021. So I think people must understand how the NRM is running. It is not just an institution that is not running on the principle and the policy.
But you see,
So
it is
Let's
also-
allow Hudson to...
Yes, it is also very wrong.
No, wait.
It is also very wrong for us to always scrutinize the failures or the weaknesses that are happening. Yet even the people that are supposed to take over from the NRM, the NUPs and the
Ants.
ANTs, they are not even doing a quarter of what NRM is doing.
Does that make
How is
what NRM doing right?
Now let me show you this. These are internal politics within a party.
Hudson, wouldn't you wish to have that space opened up for other people to compete within the party?
Like my colleague has just pointed out, we are going to have a
I'm
delegate.
asking
I don't know
you.
if he's aware.
I'm asking Mr.
I don't know.
Hudson Turinayesu. Wouldn't you wish to have free competition for the position of chairman within that party that you belong to?
But there is free competition. Like I said, anyone can still compete. Simply because they've suggested that the president should be a sole candidate, it does not stop
please,
the rest.
for purposes of guidance, Ghana, it is they have not suggested. It is a minute of the Central Executive Committee held in 2019.
Let me bring in Mujisha Celestine. When you sit and watch what's happening within the NRM, what does this speak of our multi-party dispensation, the maturity of democracy in our country? One, what does it even speak of the person of the president that he detests? We can speak it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Banyaji. Taking us a few years back from the time we had the reoccurrence of the multi-party politics in Uganda, you realize that at the time when we had a referendum, which I believe all of us were able either to participate or to follow, whichever the case, you remember the slogan they used, Tubejeko, if you remember that word. That is where it the point you're putting across emanates. Why? At the time, the president did not want any opposition in any outfit of whatsoever the case. You remember that is the time when we had DP and UPC, which were also always locked up, and the law was only saying they can only operate at the headquarters. Which multi-party does that, or rather which political party does that world over? But that aside, when pressure was too much and he could not overcome it, he decided that let's open up the political space. But the slogan was to be Jeko, not willingly, meaning that we can, for the sake, for formality, assume that we are going multi-party when actually we are not. Now, for fast forward, parties are in place. How many times were these parties allowed to officially participate, or rather to officially conduct their business outside the head office?
Even now.
Talk of errare. Can we have errare, for instance, out errare, not a meeting? You see, they have closed us into meeting town hall meetings. Every time we apply for going out to the community, to the council, they say, no, you have to conduct your business in a town hall meeting. When it is PLU or when it is movement, for them they can do anything, including taking over all the streets in Mbarara, and then nothing. For that it is normal. But for the rest, let it be ANT, let it be NUP, let it be FDC, no one will be allowed to march, to make a procession on the street of Mbarara. So that speaks to the point that there has never been willingness of the powers that be, or of the establishment, to have real political party or operations within the country, and that stifles participation, that stifles the right organization that is required of any political organization, and and that speaks also to the question of the day we are discussing here, of transition. Now, because they have denied other parties that opportunity to organize formally and properly in the right sense and the manner of it, it has also caught up with them. There is no room for transition in the NRM itself. Perhaps for the rest of the positions, but not to the top position of chairmanship. Why? Because, first of all, like I have already mentioned, you can imagine the roadmap is out. Every other position in the party is open, but when it comes to the top position, my colleague Musa will tell you, sake of 2019, closed that position. Is that giving room for transition, or it is giving room for denying?
Let's stop for a break. When we shall come back right into the second hour and have more of that discussion. Good morning.
It's tough, it's bold, it's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
91.2 Cruise FM. Great music,
Great music.
great friends.
Great friends.
All right, it's 3 minutes past 10 o'clock on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music, great friends. My name is Wesigi Banyaji. The conversation is on our social media handles, 912 Cruise FM on X and 91.2 Cruise FM on Facebook. Don't forget that you can be able to stream live on cruisefm.com/stream and on Cruise TV for TikTok and YouTube. Just type in Cruise TV on YouTube. You'll be able to watch whatever that is happening right now on the big seat. It happens every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 11. What happens is that we sit and talk about matters that affect you and I, issues of governance, politics, the law, economics, sociology, everything. It's not different this morning. We are talking about who President Museveni is as the chairperson of the National Resistance Movement. The slogan is set off from Museveni, he's the best. Is he really the best, or they've simply not given an opportunity for other members of the movement to exhibit the kind of democracy that is required of a political organization? First of all, the ideology is confusing. I am very sure that any person that has read or heard little about the Republican Party in the United States, or the Labour Party, or the Conservative Party in the UK will clearly speak of who these parties are and what they stand for. I am yet to understand what is very distinct with the NRM, or FDC, or PFF, or NOP, socio-economic transformation. I think this is something that any other party can pick.
You will have a say. You're not a member.
And you see, the constitution must be a living document. It must accommodate even people who are coming in the future. So you cannot say that because I'm not a member of the NRM, I don't have any standing to talk about matters of the NRM.
Otherwise, I wouldn't
because
have invited you
Museveni
here.
tomorrow might be a member of the NUP.
Let me give
Okay, let's have Musa.
He has every right to talk about the issues in the NUP.
Is it in order for Council Bwenje, a land person, to come here and start abusing the NRM constitution by calling the NRM Central Executive Committee a skeleton? Can he give the grounds on which he stands to call it a skeleton?
Yes, I've actually not only called it a skeleton, but I've called them an assembly of robots. They are just there to be tuned, but they do not have independent decision making. Okay? And that is not only in SEC, but it is also in the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda. The NRM MPs cannot make decisions for themselves.
Mr. Banyaji, at the end of the day, in January next year or Feb, we are going to hold national elections. Now, when that happens, each party is supposed to bring who they think is their best. Nope. Will bring who they think is their best. We already know who has ring-fenced that position and is going to come in position of Noop. We already know, because Noop has not yet selected who is going to. Have you all?
In this case, it is not ring-fenced because the difference is that Noop has not yet shared its roadmap and the guidelines. But in the current case, NRM has shared.
Actually,
and we have already known that this position is ring-fenced. And Mr. Banyaji, I want to say this without any fear or favor, that NRM from right from the onset, from ab initio, it has been known for manipulation, and all the writing is clear on the wall that for it being known to live on manipulation and deception, there is nothing new we should expect from it, and therefore this business of saying this is the SEC has sat, and no, it is manipulated, and that's what my brother is trying to put across.
And you see,
so let's look at the history of it. 1986, when these guys came, they promised this country they are going to put to prepare for national elections within 4 years. Come 1989, what happened? Actually, they requested for another 4 years. Then they put in place a constituency assembly. But before the Odochi commission, they put in place the Odochi commission. Then we went for constituency assembly. Luckily enough, the constitution was promulgated in 1995, And then the 1995 constitution had some provisions within the constitution that everybody was proud of, including the NRM itself. And those constitution, those clauses,
information,
point of information.
All of you should stop talking.
Information allowed.
Let me have
information. Yes. Actually, it is on record that even Museveni, when James Wapakaburo handed to him the constitution,
yes,
President Museveni is on record as saying this is the best constitution that Uganda and the world has ever seen. But just only years later, he presided over indirectly in the amendment.
And that's what
from then on, our constitution has never been the same.
Now,
it is a skeleton of its former self.
Let me complete. Let me complete.
Mr. Banyaji,
let's have Hyson give us that
the
information.
biggest challenge we have is we are dealing with a generation of politicians that have followed the developed democracies for so long, and they tend to intentionally ignore the challenges we have as a young democracy.
No. Let's have
They tend to ignore the challenges we have as a young democracy and assume that the politics in Uganda, which is a few years old as a democracy, are going to be as smooth as the Republicans, the Democrats, and the American way of running politics. Look, we must also understand that in their inception, they also had challenges. In our inception, we also have our own share of challenges. We are not going to run smoothly. For instance, in the NRM, are you aware that during these structures, the people who are conducting were not paid? We are still running on free will, goodwill. There are no resources. You understand? And you expect that we are not going to bypass some things and we are going to wait for years and years to let some things happen simply because there are no resources, there are no funds, and all
Actually,
that. We have challenges both internally as a party, but we also have challenges as a country. So we should not expect things to run smoothly at this particular time, but we are doing the right steps at the right time. In the long run, things will be okay.
Can I add something?
We must understand.
Can I add something? When you benchmark from the Chinese Communist Party, Uganda has followed it for long. Actually, if you can benchmark and see what is happening in the NRM, all the time we send our cadres there to benchmark, to learn on how the CP is running.
Why
now,
in all parties you choose to go to the Communist
now,
Party?
The reason is one. When you look at its formulation, how Mao Zedong had formed it, and after his death, how Deng came and brought in new dynamics that have made China what it is today. It is what exactly the NRM government is building. We are building the NRM that will be here to bring the reforms that will see Uganda in the next 20 years be China. So Ugandans should not worry.
How many times have the people of China voted for the president of the Republic of China?
Actually, all we want, our focus should be, where do we want Uganda to be? Actually, we should not front politics ahead of the interests of the country. We have to look at where do we need Uganda in the next 10 to 50 years. And that's where the NRM is taking the country.
Okay.
So, Mr. Banyaji, you can now see that, as I had already mentioned, deception and manipulation is what has been driving this party, big party, mass party called NRM. Like I've mentioned, no sooner had the constitution been put in place, promulgated, just before the test of time, it was the manipulation started. Like from the beginning, you remember it is on record, members of parliament, 2004 or 2005, being given 5 million shillings. Is that disputed? What was that for? Did they need 5 million shillings to make a decision to change the constitution? So thereafter, we also know what happened in the again when they were removing the term, that was term limits, then the age limit. Now or this is manipulation. Manipulation. You remember when they said in 2005, this is the last term for Museveni, for what? That again is deception. It's again the manipulation. So my brother, Mr. Banyaji, and the listeners, I want to put it clearly, crystal clear, that this party, mass party, so-called mass party, has deceived people, has deceived this nation, and has gone ahead to deceive its own members, so much that if there is anything people expect good out of it for the good of this country, then they are in deception, as we always see that TV soap. So therefore, I want to conclude on this by saying that as long as Uganda is to see a light of day, there has to be a change. I want to thank my senior in ANT General at the burial. He illustrated what I'm concluding with when he said, majority of the people want to see a change. Like my brother Musa says, where do we want to go? People know where they want to go. But because of the intimidation, deception, and manipulation that is happening during this kind of time, they are all clogged in one direction, in one place, where they call themselves a mass party. Now, at that point, they are there, then they are like on a swing. So when they are in one side, the swing is down, then they are looking at people the other side. He illustrated it so well that they are now calling upon people who are in a privileged position to say, please change for us the situation, rather than changing their direction, joining these people and change to what they want. They have accepted. So for as long as they accept to be manipulated, we are not going to see anything good in this country, and therefore transition is out of question. Thank you very much.
But you see, no, wait. The three of you should calm down. When I see what President Museveni has taken this country from, I was not around in 1986. But at least I have been able to read and acquit myself of the history of our country and the state of constitutionalism and the rule of law at that time. And the last 20 years that I've been able to observe the progress of our country, the state of our army, the police and the intelligence services, the state of the economy. It's only in Uganda here where you will have little money, start a business, flourish, grow, and expand without even ever interacting with the state, which is impossible in other countries. You see, there are things that this man has been able to do for this country. No. That one is undisputed. Yes. Now, if the NRM says, you see, we have this man who has carried us for the last 40 years, and we can attest to the goodness of his works, what is in the wrong of just simply letting this man continue until they realize this man is drifted off the course and is taking us to where our party is not desired? What is the problem with that?
They are ignorant. Yes.
Are you more informed than that 11 million NRM members?
Now, you see, you have stated some facts about the business person not interfacing anywhere with the state, but you forget that almost 90% of the small startup businesses, they die before their first birthday. Why? Because of the interface with the state.
No, that is not true.
Taxes.
No.
Taxes.
Let's stop for a break. When we come back, it will be to the lifeline of the show, the telephone calls and the feedback on our social media. Don't touch your radio.
It's tough. It's bold. It's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great. Great friends.
It's the lifeline of the show. The telephone calls on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. Call in and let's get to hear from you on what you think about the NRM prioritizing to have President Museveni as their flag bearer with the slogan, settle for Musei because he's the best. We want to hear from you on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. I have Gilbert Mohanji on X who is saying, and who couldn't be if it's not Museveni? The party stand on only one person. No one can even come out to contest against him and shows after losing him. The party will also disappear for good. Nwajra Remy, you're saying, well, by the look of things, it's true NRM hasn't even gotten any replacement who is even close to Museveni's type, basing on where the country has come from to where it is headed. And as well as the rest is just noise. I see your message. Teacher Robs, you're saying that issue is not about the transition right now. It's about good leadership. He still has a lot to do, and when the time comes, there will be a transition. Otherwise, we continue to endorse him. Muhire on X is saying, as if he was created to be the president for life. Don't we have more vibrant and capable citizens to take up from where he has breached? Is he the only wise person that we have in the country? That's Simon Mohire on X. Frank on X is saying, I think there are a couple of vibrant men in the NRM, but they have never shown up. And still think Museveni is interested in standing over the president. You're listening in from Bunyangabo in Fort Portal. Keep the messages coming. I'll be able to read most of them now to the telephone calls on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. The big set. Hello, caller. James from Kashari, very sad for the loss of General Major Kazora. Yes, to the topic. We can barely hear you though.
Yes, at the topic, when we talk about Museveni to be the top candidate of 2031, for sure that man, we need him even because if there is no man in this country, for sure we shouldn't be in this place. So, for us Ugandans, obviously, we need him to remain as a sole candidate and to remain as a president. I wish the best.
All right, we still need President Museveni as the sole candidate. The big set. Yes, good morning, my brother. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Onesimus Shasheboy from Shasheb.
Yes, Onesimus.
I will start by saying, for me, I support NRM, but not Mr. Museveni.
Why?
Mr. Museveni is too old to rule this country the next time.
Okay, he supports Museveni. He supports the NRM, but not Museveni. Museveni has gotten old. Let's pick more of your feedback on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. The big set.
Good morning, West Gewanya.
Yes, good morning, my brother. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Dixon from Garamashim.
Haven't I heard you, Dixon?
No.
Okay,
it's
go.
my first time.
Yes, please.
So to the matter, I'm disagreeing with that person. The precurrent caller was said that President Museveni is old. It doesn't matter the age, but does he have the capacity to keep ruling the country? Of course, we have seen other countries, they are fighting the Babateka, Karaba, Mazuma. You see, President Museveni has tried to bring security in our country, so I think we should appreciate him very much. So I end up saying also that he still have to be a solo candidate, and he has no problem. He has the capacity to still rule for the country. He should be a recurring president of our country, Uganda. Good morning.
All right, let me end with one more call on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. The big set.
Hello.
Yes, lady. Good morning. It's long time coming. What's your name?
You are speaking Shuvan.
Yes, Shivan.
For me, I think Museveni should be a sole candidate
Yes, Shivan, yes, I can hear you very correctly. You want Museveni to
And I want to thank Musa Kwatanis and that Hudson. For me, I see there is no reason for new members.
Shivan, thank you so much for calling. It's been a while since we last had a lady calling. But let's get to the calls one more time on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. The big seat.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yes, you're speaking to Nwaga from Uganda.
Yes, Nwaga Baini.
Yes, personally, I think, however good something is, when it is exposed or when it is done with extremism, it turns out to be bad. So I think it's been good time for him. We appreciate all he has done. It's better we test another dancer on the stage.
All right, that's crystal clear. The big seat, the last call for now. What's your name?
Banyaji.
Yes, please.
This is Hassan in Uganda.
Yes, Hassan in Uganda.
I think President Museveni should know that even if Ugandans are silent about him, but not all of them that they love him. No, people are just silent because they have nothing to do. And I want to thank President Museveni so much because the charm that he has used, that kind of the charm that he has used to rule Ugandans, it is working, because if you see how people are being hoodwinked by his government and still remain on him, this is amazing. Thank you for the program.
I want to appreciate you, sir, for calling in. On Facebook, I can see Gomis, it is Deus, who is saying the president is doing good work. You can see what he's doing in PDM. His intention is to abolish poverty. And then I have David Taewa, who is saying he gave people PDM money so that they stop suffering. It looks like Museveni is big appreciated. Omtaka Ivan is saying no one can oppose Museveni because he's the owner of the party. NRM after Museveni will fall like a pack of cards. And, well, thank you. Keep the messages coming. Let me come back to studio. Yes.
Our theme, or the theme of the NRM, is that Museveni is the best.
Yes.
But what exactly is the meaning of the adjective best?
Yes.
See, in the Britannica dictionary, it is defined as better than all others in quality or value. So who are those others? Yes.
But you see...
No, just answer the question. Who are those others?
We are talking about the internal politics. When we say he's the best within NRM. Because first of all, what parameters are we using?
How do you know that? How do you know that?
The parameters we are using are very simple. Yes. Who else is more experienced than him within our party?
So and exactly
that you get it. It is based on this experience that us as a party we still believe that we need leadership.
I
and I also want to tell you, Council Bwenje, that look, when we keep on saying that there is no transition taking place, and yet I am here, I am part of the bigger transition.
You are not different. Actually,
you understand?
He's a stooge of
I am a younger
Museveni.
person contesting. I keep on telling people that I'm an incrementalist. I'm an incrementalist in a way that I don't believe in totally dismantling something. Look at something and look at where the weaknesses are, build it to make it bigger. I do believe that with the younger people that are coming into the arena of politics, we need the elders to guide us. These elders have started this. We are watching them. We are not saying that they are righteous. They've not made mistakes. They've had their share of mistakes. But we are here, we are watching. We are saying we as their younger versions that are coming up, we will need to make it better than they are making it. It does not mean that we should just kick them off the scene without tapping into their big political kind of experience that they have. We still need them here to guide us as we grow into how to take this
on Cruise TV, Komumanzi, Victoria, you're watching. Kumakech Godfrey, you're watching from Boma. Daria Silva, you're watching, and you're all the way in Kampala. Phil Batumsime, I can see you in Bahrain. And then Antonius Natamba and Andrew Tumsime, who is saying actually they have failed to think about building the NRM and Uganda after President Museveni. You're watching all the way from Kakoba. You're very appreciated, and
actually,
thank you so much. Yes.
I wanted to ask Council Bwenji, and actually I thought, in my opinion, Council Bwenji would have posed the question that you are saying SEC passed the resolution in 2019. What are the grounds SEC took to pass such a resolution? Because yes, SEC must look at the quality. That is number one. Because even you know that
that it is a skeleton.
now you must first of all, if you still have that biased mind on such an internal election of the NRM, which you are not a member, it makes the whole discussion biased. Because SEC has reasons why President Museveni was endorsed as a solo candidate. And one of the reasons was that President Museveni has led this country on merit, basing on his revolution, because they NRM first of all looks at the 4 major principles. For whatever we do, we base on the 4 major principles of the patriotism, Pan-Africanism, democracy, and socio-economic transformation. We always, every after 5 years, they evaluate those 4 principles and ask, as far as patriotism is concerned, how have we achieved as the party? As far as Pan-Africanism is concerned, how have we achieved as a party? We are fighting for peace in the DRC. We are fighting for peace in Somalia. Now that means we are achieving. Then we go to democracy. How is democracy being achieved as the party and at the national level? Then we look at how the new people are participating, how the ants are coming up. Then we credit. Then we go on socio-economic transformation. That's why you see every after 5 years, that's why you see every after 5 years, NRM comes with a program that is people-centered to fight poverty. You know how the Emyoga came in, how the NADS came in. Now we are in the parish development model.
Let me understand
all
this.
those programs are centered at
Let me know. No objection.
Poverty from the people.
Let me have
Thank you very much, Mr. Banya. Musa, no objection from your submission. Just a simple guidance. You are fighting for peace in Congo. You are fighting for peace in Somalia. These other ways, these all other things you have put across. How do you go to those places is my question. What does the Constitution say, and how do you go about it? And that aside, is that the practice that we should envisage, or rather we should embrace as a young generation? A practice of going around, beating around the bush and abrogating our own constitution.
Can I guide you? No. Let me first answer his question. I'm answering his question. We must know that for UPDF to be deployed in any country on African land or even abroad, the Parliament of Uganda must sit and approve. And we know that the Parliament even recently sat and approved that UPDF should be in South Sudan. Why do we have now why do we have those forces in those countries? We must know that geopolitically Uganda is very insecure, because one, Uganda is a landlocked country. We have no direct access to the sea. And so what happens? Our goods come through Sudan, come through DRC, come through Kenya, come through Tanzania. And so when Sudan is at war, when DRC is at war, directly the economic situation in Uganda here is affected. The welfare of Ugandans here is affected. That's why Uganda, led by a great revolutionarist, President Museveni, who understands the geopolitical nature of the world, led by the CDF General Muhoozi, who understands the geopolitical nature of the world, they must fight hard to ensure peace prevails.
About the process, that the process has not been followed in the way it's supposed to be. It has been done in reverse and all that, but they ignore intentionally the results achieved whenever our soldiers go there. In Somalia there is peace. In South Sudan they are holding up a government. In Congo they are fighting rebels.
You cannot export peace when you don't have peace at home. I had Muzeya.
We are talking. This is a man saying there is no peace at home, and the same man who is going to go wake up on Monday and go to his business.
When
you understand,
no,
and
people have died.
We are talking about
after coming from studios. They have
the
died.
luxury of going to do your usual work.
Who has died?
Go to Somalia. It is not business as usual.
Who has died? No, this man said someone died coming out of studio. Who has died?
People.
No.
People
who has died?
People have been kidnapped. Actually, many. Actually, no. You see, many NUP members. Many NUP. No. You see, many NUP members.
But you see, we shall not sit here. We are educated people. We are highly exposed
I expected Council Bwenje to discuss like an elite and moreover a council.
He should
discuss with evidence.
With evidence.
You see, where's Kazora now?
Kazora is 6 feet under.
Yeah, why?
Because he had a health.
No, why? No, why?
Because
why?
He died of natural causes.
Where is Aronda?
He passed away.
You have proof of
where's General Kazini?
He was killed by a woman in a house in Namuongo.
Where is
you're taking us?
No.
That's not our
but you
discussion.
see, what is he has talked about patriotism and so forth. So, is it possible for one to be patriotic when he does not support the NRM?
Yes.
Absolutely, yes. That's why, as the Patriotic League of Uganda, which is affiliated to the NRM party, because our ideology fits in the NRM. We absorb
what is your ideology?
Our ideology believes in the patriotism, Pan-Africanism, fighting corruption, and ensuring the socio-economic status of every Ugandan.
Okay. We're stopping for a breather. When we come back, the last stretch of the show, don't touch your radio because the best is yet to come. I'll be able to open more of your calls and keep the conversation going on our social media handles. On radio, we'll be back.
It's tough. It's bold. It's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great.
music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
On the last lap of the show, 18 minutes to the top of the hour on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM, great music, great friends. My name is Wesige Banyaji. The big city is on your radio, and I want to appreciate every person that has been locked onto the radio from 9 a.m. where we started up to where we're at. I'm very sure the online audience has been pretty packed, active, and listening to the show. Thank you so much from Johannesburg to Cairo, and in Vietnam and Vatican, where I thought that the opening remarks of Council Bwenje, who is an atheist, doesn't believe that God ever exists, would have something to say about Pope, but thank God that he simply sidestepped that. And we are talking about General Museveni and the NRM, of how sustainable is it that they will have him as a sole candidate for the rest of the future elections until he's capable. The slogan is set off for President Museveni because he's the best is what has been carved out, and we'll be able to headline on the election that is coming in 2026. The primaries are almost out here in Mbarara City. Literally everyone that participated in the last election is back. Gearing up a bit to something else, how is the feel? Do we realize that the elections are closing in and these political organizations have to be ready, and the cost that it will take to participate in these elections, and the civic educations that Ugandans need to participate in the electoral process? Is this information out there for the benefit of the Ugandan people?
No. First of all, I have a feeling of deja vu. It's something I've already seen. It's a foregone conclusion. The violence which was meted on the members of the opposition in 2021, 2016, 2011, 2006, and 2001 is still there. What we saw in Kawempe is just a rehearsal of what is going to come. I don't expect anything like a free and fair election. We still have ignorant voters who are ready to vote for as low as a quarter of a bar of soap. We still have the NRM, which is bent on corrupting the members of the UPDF, corrupting the members of the EC, because it is on record that it is the members of the UPDF who are actually involved in the voter disenfranchisement. They take ballot papers as it is in Isingiro and so forth. So for me, I don't expect anything good coming out of the opposition, because President Museveni is still there. He still has control of a partisan UPDF, which is headed by his own son, a son who has no respect for our constitution, a son who is there to preserve the interests of his father, and by him, of course. So to me, I don't see anything good out of the forthcoming election, and I wonder what those who are contesting for are actually hoping for.
Okay.
So, and of course, my friends here who are members of the NRM, I think he's around 42 years. He's around maybe
29,
32. They are not any different from Museveni. He has them in his pocket. They don't have any independent decision making of their own. So they see him as God, okay? And that is bad for any party, because when the young Turks are not different from the old ones, the party is no more.
Okay. Mujisha, the ant literally was a negligible force in the last election. And we thought you would raise dust and create competition. You basically just sipped through that election without any kind of recognition. And it's only the party leader that is going around to mobilize Ugandans and, raise awareness of the activities of the party and the intentions of the party. How different should we expect of the ants in the 2026 election?
Well, thank you very much. Again, it is not true that it's only the leader moving around, because you and I know that in the first place he doesn't move alone. Of course, and again he moves under our invitation. We organize and say there is this activity. Please, we request you to join us and on the like. So it is negligible to those who seem not to appreciate what is going on. But again, you and I again know that our party is a value-based party. And as far as Ugandans are concerned, today, many of them don't believe in values, because that's what they've been fed on for so long a time, that they have been brainwashed. They don't believe values work and operate and are true. And therefore, it is no wonder that in the discussion, the debate has been going on, my colleagues brought out this saying of, in their submission, I could conclude that the end justifies the means. And for us, it is the reverse. The means are as important as the end. It does not matter what the end, what the results you have got, but how did you get to that result is very important. And that's what makes a difference, Mr. Banyaji, with us from the rest of the parties, from the rest of, particularly NRM. We believe that you have to adhere to the values for you to stand out as a leader, to stand out as an organization that is planning. And that's why we have our slogan as People First, a New Future. Think about the people, then be sure of the future. And then what is it you are saying? How different shall ANT be?
Because I'm wondering, members of the ANT that participated in the last election simply either vanished and left the political stage or went back to their parties that they had come from. We have Koikoi, who was an active member of the ANT, is back in NRM. We had Kafureka, who was an active member of the ANT, back in the NRM. And so many, the list is endless. People have vacated. And
similarly, we'll have other members coming. Karaka.
Yes.
He called me one day and said, man, I've made a decision to join the NRM.
Okay.
You see, Mr. Banyaji.
He left ANT.
Yes. I was dumbfounded, but that is his right. I could not really fault him.
No, why? Maybe address this to Ugandans.
Yes.
Is your party a non-starter?
Mr. Banyaji.
Let him answer that.
Let me say this. I will say it. I've just said it, and I will re-emphasize it. Our party is a value-based party. I'm telling you, people to appreciate values.
Are you reading the room?
Yes, I'm reading the room.
Does ANT read the room?
For those people that believe in values, I want to assure you, Mr. Banyaji, you will see a new breed of leaders coming up in ANT, and this will make a total change in your thinking, in your vision, in your perception, and I'm sure, and I can assure you, this will change Uganda for the best, and we will not.
Are you only speaking out of faith and hope?
It is not out of faith; it is out of practice.
Okay. Thank you, Mucha. Let me have
Mr. Banyaji. Every time I listen to ANT speakers, you might easily think they opened a church, not a political party. They are so holy. They are so good. They are very nice people. They are very nice people. And they are very nice people.
Whenever I am told, whenever Mchamuntu goes, they tell him, "But you see,
you're such a nice man.
You have no problem." And then he says, "In fact, me not having a problem is the first problem."
You see,
yes.
You see, our good general is such a good man, and it reflects in the caliber of the people that follow him. Yes. Look at our good man here.
Yes.
You understand?
Hey.
You easily think.
But why are Ugandans rejecting them?
I don't know.
You see, why Ugandans are rejecting them? We are not playing on a level ground, on a well-leveled ground. You understand? And now, like I pointed out earlier in my submissions, I said we are a hybrid democracy. We have some elements of authoritarianism and democracy. You get it? If you want to play, you see, my friends of ANT would have survived in a pure democracy.
Yes.
Because it would accommodate them very well. You get it? But they want to bring
and that is honestly speaking.
Yes. They want to bring their pure democracy in a ground where it is authoritarian mixed up with with democracy. You see, their survival.
You're feeling pity for them.
Yeah, their survival is going to be really...
I'm actually gobsmacked because what does the NRM want? Exactly. Nope, they're saying it is too violent. and they are saying it is too humble.
It is too nice.
My submission
So
here.
what should we do?
You see, my submission on this particular one, why I'm feeling pity for them, I submit it as Hudson, as a 40-year-old, not as an NRM cadre.
Yes, Musa. PLU is intertwined with the NRM now.
Yes.
But we know certainly there are candidates that will, and this is the problem the Hudsons are going to find. There are candidates that will be affiliated to PLU.
Yes.
We know, for example, in Remiyaga there, already General Rwanshande is a member of the PLU. And in the so many other constituencies, you have NRM but PLU. And there's going to be kind of a need for an endorsement for those candidates. How are you planning to figure it out?
First of all, for us, we, as PLU, believe and follow the command of our supreme leader, who is General Museveni. He guided that those who want to contest on any political position should vie the flag of NRM, and gave a reason that as Patriotic League of Uganda, our ideology best aligns with the ideology of the NRM. Even that's why some of our members who came from the opposition parties of NUP and ETC are now vying for NRM flag, but they came through PLU. I will give you an example. If you look at Honorable Kagabo, Twaha Kagabo, he's now vying for the NRM flag, but through Patriotic League of Uganda. And so I want to guide the public that those who have a worry that maybe PLU and NRM will collide here and there. No. For us, we have a clear guidance, and we say that what General Museveni says is directly our command. Nobody opposes his say. And also, I want to guide someone who called and said that His Excellency is aging. When we look at the growth and development, someone grows in four major perspectives. Three. One is chronological, other is physical, other is psychological. Psychological deals with the brain, the growth of the brain and the thinking. Chronology deals with the years, accumulation of years. Then physical deals with the body. So now, all we need from the person of the president is the psychology, the brain to be functioning very well to guide the country forward. And we have seen it, and we are still witnessing it, that President Museveni still is bringing fresh ideas on board that are still driving this country forward. That's why as the NRM party, we are giving him a chance again. And I want to appeal to all NRM supporters countrywide who listen to the Cruise FM that please, this is the time to join the party structures and take decisions within, because it will help us as the NRM people to be in our party and take decisions so that tomorrow we don't become like Wenges who go out and start complaining on what they don't know. And lastly,
you've been fantastic company. Let's meet next week on the big seat. My name is Wes Gebanyaji. We have news at the top of the hour. God bless you. Have a fantastic weekend.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of this radio station or its management.
This radio is regulated by Uganda Communications Commission, UCC.